Relatedly, the UN Special Rapporteur on Toxics and Human Rights urges government to ban trade and use of mercury, hazardous pesticides, and all other toxic chemicals that harm individuals and the environment. The UN Special Rapporteur on Toxic and Human Rights says government must ban trade and use of mercury, hazardous pesticides, and all other toxic chemicals that harm individuals and the environment. Marcos Orellana says exposure to such toxic waste is a violation of human rights. Mr. Orellana, who was addressing the press at the end of his 14-day assessment of the country, observed that Ghana has strong policies on environmental protection. He was, however, unhappy about the weak implementation at the national level, saying this put individuals at a risk of human rights violations.
While Ghana's environmental laws are strong, there is weak implementation. Also, there are certain gaps in Ghana's normative framework regarding industrial chemicals, as well as a lack of comprehensive national policy to manage the entire life cycle of chemicals, including waste. In this regard, I would like to highlight the adoption of a national plastic waste management policy. Positive strategic actions include the establishment of collection, recovery, recycling, and remanufacturing targets and initiatives to fostering innovative resource mobilization towards a circular economy. On the same beach, many people live in informal settlements where they breed and slaughter cattle and fish for subsistence and livelihood. Like in Abobloshi, their human rights to water and sanitation, health, housing, food, and to a healthy environment are being infringed. In regard to the deleterious impacts of mercury on human health and the environment, the government should adopt strong measures of control. It should ban the use and trade in mercury, champion amendments to strengthen the Minamata Convention on Mercury, and address mercury use as a form of environmental crime.
Now let's speak to a former operations director of the Ghana Small Scale Miners Association of Ghana, Emmanuel Yerenchi, on this. Thanks so much for joining us, sir. Now, why are we still using mercury many years after the Minamata Convention?
Thank you very much, and good morning to your viewers, and especially small scale miners across the country. Yes, thank you. Yes, with regards to the mineral laws in Ghana, miners are permitted to use mercury. But one interesting aspect of that is, or a very important point to note, is the fact that the amount or how the mercury is used is not the whole ore amalgamation as practiced in elsewhere, the South Americas and all of that. So Ghana's use, miners' use of mercury is in very small quantities. However, not long ago, somewhere around 2016, Ghana signed up to the Minamata Convention, and follow up to that, we did our Minamata initial assessment report, which was in record time, and then followed that up, we did our national action plan. Basically, what the Minamata Convention enjoins us to do is, first of all, to identify sources of mercury in the country, and then reduce it to the barest minimum, and if possible, eliminate it. So for me, it is a very good step that the nation has taken towards the reduction of the use of mercury, and then perhaps to the total elimination of it. Now, when you come to, there are several industries that uses mercury in the country. Hospitals, some areas where mercury are emanated from their natural system, like the cemeteries and the refuse dump that we burn stuff from there and all of that. Now, and then sometimes some of the creams that our women use has got some level of mercury or traces of mercury in them as well. But from the reports and the initial assessment that we did, we realized that a certain amount, a larger percentage of the mercury usage falls under the artisanal and small-scale mining sector. And so as part of the NAB, there were several things that we discussed with all stakeholders.
No, but
in fact,
Mr. Eji, we are being told that, even though you say that ours is on the low, we are also being told it's still a high. So what can we do to ensure that we really achieve the target of minimizing the usage of mercury in our mining? But it's been a concern for some time now.
Yes, of course. So as I was saying, the NAB, the National Action Plan that was drawn, of which I was part of the technical committee, proposed to government, and government has actually adopted it, to introduce mercury-free equipment to the small-scale sector. And if you remember, a few months ago, the government launched some 100 mercury-free equipment at the Independence Square, if you remember. Mm-hmm. It's all part of the National Action Plan to support small-scale miners to reduce the use of mercury. And the small-scale miners themselves, including myself, have also purchased some of those equipment, especially those who didn't receive the 100 pieces of equipment. Some of them have also purchased this equipment towards the reduction or perhaps the total elimination of use of mercury in our mining processes. So in Ghana, the discussion is strong, the actions have been taken, and I'm very sure that in some few years to come, in the NAB, our target was around 2030, between 2025 and then 2030. I'm confident that we might have reduced or perhaps eliminate the use of mercury in the small scale sector. With respect to the hospitals, I'm also aware that they are changing all the mercury thermometers and other equipment, medical equipment that uses mercury. I'm aware that there are laws that are banning creams that our women use that has traces of mercury in them. Then I'm also aware that the fluorescent tube, the one that has mercury in them, are also being banned from entering the country. So these are some of the efforts by the government. And
how well will you agree to the call for the sale and use of mercury to be banned in Ghana as it is being called by the UN envoy?
Well, so basically, the law, I believe, was enacted to serve a certain purpose. And with time, as a human society, we realized that perhaps the disadvantages outweighs the advantages of the purpose. But we should not also lose sight of the fact that it is supporting a certain industry. So perhaps it should be done gradually as it has been prescribed by the Minamata Convention, of which Ghana is actively participating. And so I'll recommend gradual reduction of the usage and then possibly total elimination.
Grateful to you, Mr. Emmanuel Yirinchi, for joining us. He is a former Director of Operations of the Ghana Small Scale Miners Association.